welcome back to my channel. I'm in my car once again, but today I have on a mask because I'm about to enter the school, and I quickly wanted to tell you guys I'm going to be sharing what activities I use in speech. So these activities are things that my supervisor also provides me with. She has had like a collection of toys and activities from different websites and stuff that she's collected over the years. Okay, she's been doing this much more time than me, so she shares a lot of her materials because she's not the one doing a lot of the direct therapy. It's me, her assistant. So I often go inside of her office and I can get things from there. I'm free to do so. You know, we've discussed this, and I'll leave with some activities that I kind of use throughout the week. Sometimes I use these activities for 2 weeks. It just depends what I know is like on the agenda for the week, what I know I'm going to work on during the week. Once I get familiar with the newer kids I'm working with, it all just varies. So these are activities that I think are super flexible, and that's another thing. I like to be flexible because speech, a lot of times it has to be done in a group. The therapy isn't one-on-one as a lot of people would like it. I know I would like that, but it doesn't always work out like that. I still have to see, you know, groups of kids to get all of my time in with everybody. So because they are mixed groups, you know, one kid can be working on articulation and the other one could be working on language, I have to be flexible with the activities that I use. I can't strictly use a game that's going to target WH questions when someone else is working on articulation. I have to just remember those things when I'm picking out the activities. So let me finally show you guys what's in my bag. It's different from the what's in my bag video because, again, these are activities. So I'm showing you the activities I use online on my iPad that I'm still getting familiar with. I show you the activities that I do in person as well. So yeah, let's just get into it. I bet you thought I'd be at the school, huh? I did too, but I am home because I do not feel looking at. He looks so cute. That's distracting, so I'm gonna move it this way. I am home. I don't feel very well. That's just it. So I'm gonna record the rest of this video from my house. I also from my home. And I also like pre-recorded the portion where I'm showing you what activities I'm taking out because I was prepping for the day at one of my campuses and I wanted to save that footage for when I make this video. So the first thing you see me take out are the whiteboards, which I think are super important for anybody targeting fluency. I actually just had my speech supervisor observe me a few weeks ago, and I was asking her on tips for fluency and what to really do for those kiddos because it's very difficult. If they're just reading from a passage or from a book, it's not very likely that I'm gonna catch them stuttering. And that's not what I'm there for. You know, I want to hear you stutter and I want to work on that. So she had a good point. She said when you do spontaneous activities or activities that really get their brain going, that's when they'll likely stutter. And that's when you can work one-on-one with them. So what I'm doing is in the small groups that I have for fluency, I bring out the whiteboards and I find it very helpful because they're very competitive. And what I do is I make teams and I'll say, you know, this team 1, I want you to draw something. Don't tell me what it is. And then you're going to tell team 2 exactly how to draw it. So while I'm saying this is really good for fluency because that's the groups I use it for, this is very good at working with, you know, grammatical sentences, working on detail, working on spatial concepts. You know, can the kids say, now draw a circle under the square, to the right, to the left? That's really what I'm looking for. And with the kids working on fluency, I find that they're having a much difficult time getting their words out in the speed that they want. That's when we work on fluency techniques, and that's when the therapy comes into play. The second thing you see me take out, it's kind of straightforward, straight to the point. It's the main idea. Hey. It's the main idea printouts. So that's literally small squares that I got off of the website Teachers Pay Teachers, and they're free printouts. I'm just inserting them into that clear sheet because I'm not gonna be making copies over and over. So I stick them in there and then I talk about the main idea. I read a short passage to the students working on the main idea, recalling details, retelling a short story. that's what I'm working on with those. Next, I'm taking out a couple of games. So the first one is Spot It. And that one I love because it's so flexible. When I first saw it, I was kind of confused as to why I would ever use it in speech therapy. I think my first year I even used it like as a, you know, reward on Fridays and stuff, because I didn't really know how to use it in therapy and to use it to my advantage. But I'm here to tell you, I figured out you can kind of work with it for vocabulary and forming grammatical sentences. I say that because while I was kind of trying to work on articulation with small groups, smaller kids, you know, the older kids really like it because, again, it's really competitive. And if you form teams or just make it a more competitive environment, they're very likely to just be really fast. So if I set the tone at the beginning, and if I say, you know, I want you to make a complete sentence and say, I found the dragon, I found the plant. I just want them to make that full on sentence or grammatical sentence. That way I'm listening to everybody, whether it's for articulation, the grammatical sentences, or for just vocabulary. For example, one of the cards has an igloo. And younger kids don't all know what an igloo is. So that's a very good teaching moment where I could let them know what an igloo is. I ask them, where do you find it? What do you think it's made out of? What kind of people live in there? Things like that to get their minds going. And you can make a whole 30-minute session out of just working on vocabulary with those cards. The next two items, I believe, are from Super Duper. This is not an expense I'm telling you have to make. Remember, these are items I get from my speech supervisor, and she's been doing this for a long time. So these are products that she's invested in. It's stuff I would never buy myself personally. I'm just more of a Target dollar section type of speech therapist. I'm not gonna go out of my way to go and buy these things, but I will say they work very well in speech therapy. The first one that I am taking out and showing you guys are the Arctic photos. That's the blue box. Now that one, we have an entire collection of all the sounds that are typically used for articulation. The L sound, the R sound, the S, the SH, the TH. That's like my go-to, and we have so many more, but I like to keep the S with me because the kids I work with mostly struggle with the S sound. So we use this to play Go Fish. We can play matching. It just depends. And a lot of the times when I take out the cards, the kids already know what we're gonna do. Sometimes I'll give them the option. Do you want to do Go Fish? Do you want to do matching? Do you want to do something else? And even if you're not going to work with articulation, I find it very flexible because just recently I did a game of Go Fish and I had them describe the picture. Instead of saying, I have a snake, I want you to tell me what it is and I have to guess what it is. Another option is playing a matching game with those cards. You're just looking for another snake. You're looking for another skunk, something like that to make it competitive and make it fun for the kids. The second item that I do have is multiple meanings, which I think is pretty straightforward. That one I use a lot for middle school and high school kids. This one, they know already what a multiple meaning is. You know, the word fall, it has two completely different meanings. You could be falling off of the ladder, or it could mean fall as in the season. So they're trying to match these cards. You know, it has both meanings, and I make it competitive and I make it fun in the same way I do for the Arctic photos. The third item is the figurative language, and that comes like in that circular box. I'm literally reading off the card an idiom, and then it gives you A, B, or C. What do you think she's all tied up means? What do you think it means when I say she felt butterflies in her stomach? So that I'm literally targeting figurative language and idioms with these kids. The new thing that I have this year are those letter tiles. That's what's in those little baggies. I can't remember if I'm actually showing you guys how small they are, but they're really tiny letter tiles for kids to get to play with. Sometimes I have it out just like as a little fidgeting game, and smaller kids get to make towers and stuff while I'm asking them questions. And on the fun days, I'll let them spell out a word. For example, since Halloween is coming up, I'll ask them to spell the word bat. And after they spell it, you know, they're super excited to spell the word. And then I ask them, okay, what is a bat? You know, where does it live? What does it look like? what's the other meaning for the word bat? There's just so many things you can do with the letter tiles and vocabulary, grammatical sentences, as all the other games, but I'm just trying to make it fun once again for the kids. One of the other things that I start to show you guys is on my iPad. So I've mentioned this before, but I'm really new to using the iPad this year. There's one with the WH questions. It's also by Super Duper, and I'm sure they sell a physical like copy of this. But this one, the free version, comes with just WH questions, and it's asking you who. So it'll ask things such as who fixes your teeth, or who cleans your teeth. When you go to a doctor, who cleans your teeth? And they have to accurately say a dentist. Another question for the who would be like, who repairs cars and trucks? And they have to be able to either match it, or they have another option where you can give the card, like the question, and then it offers you A, B, or C, different answer choices, and then they get to choose. It all depends on the students that you're working with, the group you're working with. The last two are Starfall and Word Vault. He's clapping. Starfall, I like it for the smaller kiddos for sure. I feel like a lot of people know what that is already if they do speech therapy at home. And that's a lot more fun for the younger kids. It gives you a picture, it's more for articulation, and it gives you the letter. For L, it shows lightning, a lion, and lips. Different things to just target for the L sound, and different sounds, of course. It's literally A through Z. And then the very last one that I mentioned earlier was Word Vault. That one is very much more for teachers / speech therapists, because I would never show a kid this, on my iPad. It's more for me to ask them questions and consider before a speech session, during a speech session. It gives you everything for language. It gives you idioms. It gives you comparing and contrasting. It gives you lists of categories and, items in that category that you can ask for. So that one is very much more teacher-based, but I get to show you guys in this other clip a little bit more on what it offers. So that's gonna complete my video. If you like this content, please make sure to give it a like, because this is such a big topic. Everyone wants to be knowing what others are doing for their speech and language activities, for inspiration, to get ideas and stuff for your therapy sessions. So with that being said, subscribe to my channel as well. It'll mean so much to me. I will catch you guys in my next one. Bye.